Welcome to a special edition of Inside Trenton. I'm Rafael P. Roman.
And I'm Steve Adubato. Joining us today for the entire program is Dr. Murray Sabrin. Professor Sabrin is the director of the Center for Business and Public Policy at Ramapo College and a candidate for the United States Senate. Good to see you, Doctor.
Good to see you, Steve.
We haven't seen you in a while. Last statewide office you ran for was?
The United States Senate 8 years ago.
How'd that turn out?
Not well.
Okay, well, we wish you all the best this time, but you got to get past this gauntlet, if you will.
Absolutely.
First question. Incumbent Senator Frank Lautenberg is 84 years of age as we do this program. He will be 90 if, in fact, he's elected, getting closer to 91. Is he too old to run for another term in the U.S. Senate?
The age is not important. It's the ideas that are important. The age of his ideas are important to me. And his ideas are based upon top-down management. It's based upon collectivism. He's been one of the most big
collectivism, what does that mean?
Someone who believes that Washington should manage our economy, someone who believes that there should be high taxes, high government spending, a lot of regulation of the economy. And when you believe those things, the economy is in the shape that it is in today. Namely, we have a major financial crisis on Wall Street. We have a $3 trillion budget. We have a $500 billion deficit. We have a $10 trillion national debt. And here's the real scary number that really propelled me into this race. We have $72 trillion of unfunded liabilities today, growing at roughly $3 trillion a year. Those are the promises that the federal government has made to future generations to pay for all the entitlement programs.
You're talking about Social Security?
Medicare, Medicaid, and all that. This is clearly unsustainable. Let me give you what it means in actual dollar terms.
You're an economist. You understand these things.
When I first read these numbers, I was incredulous that these are the things that are going to happen in America in the 21st century. It means that your kids are going to be spending half their national lifetime income just in federal taxes. That doesn't include state income taxes, state sales taxes, state property, or local property taxes.
Dr. Sabrin, let me ask you this. You started out by saying that Senator Lautenberg's ideas are old, they're dangerous, and they produce these horrific conditions that you just described so effectively. How much of the condition you described falls at the feet of President Bush?
I take the position this is a Washington problem.
How much of the problem falls at the feet of the President, the chief executive officer?
It's clear that even Republicans recognize there's been too much spending in Washington in the last 8 years. Everyone recognizes that. There have been more programs in
Where do you disagree with the President on economic issues?
Mr. Sabrin, let me just interrupt. Assuming that the situation is as bad as you say it is, at best, if you're elected, you're going to be a junior senator from the state of New Jersey, probably in the minority party. Things being as bad as you assume they are, as you say they are, what can you really do?
Well, what could one senator do? You have that 6-year window of opportunity to speak about the issues forcefully, uncompromisingly about what needs to be done. And what needs to be done
You could do that now?
Well, in the Senate, you have the media, you have access to the media, you have a national constituency, you have a national audience that you can, and public opinion is very strong in this country. We need to galvanize public opinion. As a leader in the United States Senate, I would do that, even though I would be a junior senator, because I've been leading on these issues for 30 years. I wrote pieces in the 1970s, 1980s, and 1990s warning about the mess that we're in today because we have a government that's trying to manage the economy.
So you're saying basically that what the Senate would give you would be a bully pulpit and a mouthpiece that you don't have now to keep doing the same things you're doing now. But you don't assume that you're going to be able to change any of these things in the short run.
Well, in the short run, you never know what happens because if you present the evidence is clear. We're headed for a financial train wreck if we don't change course. My job in the United States Senate would be to convince my fellow senators that we have to change the direction, and here's the direction we should go to. Because if we don't, the economy will not be as robust as it otherwise would be for the next 20, 40 years.
Professor, let me ask you this. You're very much aware of the cost of things in government and the impact it has on us and our children, as you stated. How about this? What is the cost of the Iraq war per day? Do you know?
Well, I've just read recently it's $12 billion a month, which is an enormous amount of money.
Was it a mistake to go into Iraq?
I've said from time one, going into Afghanistan was the right thing to do because the people who committed 9/11 were in Afghanistan, and the president had every right, I think, under international law to do so. However, going into Iraq did not strengthen our national security.
Was it a mistake?
I think, looking back on it, it wasn't the thing to do to improve our national security.
If you had to vote in 2002 in the U.S. Senate, what would your vote have been on the authorization to go to war?
I would have voted no.
You would have voted no?
Voted no.
So you have been publicly against war for almost, as far as I can remember, almost from the beginning. But the candidate who's going to be the candidate of your party has staked his candidacy, I'm talking about John Cain, in support of that war. He says we have to be in there until we win the war, and by winning he means establishing stability in Iraq, ending the violence in Iraq, and creating a friendly government.
However long it takes, Raf.
Yeah, however long it takes. And now, are you supporting him if...
Here are the issues, Raphael and Steve. The president wanted to get rid of Saddam Hussein. That's been accomplished. His sons are gone. His military commanders are gone. The Iraqi people voted for a government in a democratic process. We've spent a lot of blood and treasure there so the Iraqi people can have a self-governing situation. We've accomplished that mission. Now we just read that the Iraqi soldiers and commanders are deserting their own military. So well, let me just finish here. This is a very important point. If the Iraqi people are unwilling to fight for their own country, if they're unwilling to secure their borders, if they're unwilling to take up arms to make stability in their country, why do we have to do it?
So my question is, again, your position seems to be much closer to that of either Senator Clinton or Senator Obama than it is to Senator McCain. Would you go as far as to not support the candidate, the presidential candidate of your party, where you have such strong differences with him on this main issue?
I said when I entered this race, I would support the nominee of the party. That doesn't mean I'm going to agree with the nominee on every single issue.
This isn't, respectfully, Professor, every single issue. It is, in many people's minds, the issue of our time.
And certainly the key issue of the candidate.
Have been killed. Many more have been wounded. This country continues to suffer. And the nominee of the Republican Party, John McCain, said as long as it takes. And listen, I don't believe I'm taking this out of context. I believe he said if it were to take up to 100 years, he was trying to make a point that we should. If John McCain said, I want to come to New Jersey, excuse me, and raise a couple $100,000 for you, Murray, because I believe in your candidacy, but we are on polar opposite ends of this issue of Iraq, would you say, Senator, come on in and raise money for me? I'd be glad to take your help.
As a nominee of the party, I believe we have to have a strong Republican presence in the November election, and I believe I would be the best representative for the people of New Jersey in these.
We understand that. You and Senator McCain have diametrically different positions on the issue of our time. Would you accept his support to raise money for your candidacy, even though, as president, he would stay in Iraq for as long as it takes, and your position is we have to get out?
I would get the support of everybody that I need to get the support to it, because this has been an uphill battle. I mean, this is not an easy thing.
We know that. You didn't come close last time. We understand that. Are you saying that regardless of the polls, forget about that. You're a different kind of politician.
Sure.
You've always said it. Are you saying that even though you and Senator McCain are totally at different ends on the issue of our time, you would accept money that he raised for you in New Jersey?
Oh, absolutely. Because the point is, in order to win in this state, you have to get independent voters. That's clear. We know that from the registration. Independent voters in this state are independent. They're leaning to who will best represent their interests. And in this state, with the fiscal problems that we have, with the 70% of the people of New Jersey want to see us out of Iraq as quickly as possible, right, I think there's an opportunity to present the case that traditional Republican principles mean that we have good relations with everyone in the world. We allow people to find their own way in the world, which is self-governing.
So you're talking about convincing Senator McCain that he's wrong?
Well, it's not a matter of convincing. I think what's going to happen in Iraq is that the Iraqi government is going to have to step up to the plate. It's clear that they have to do so.
Do you think that this is the majority opinion within the Republican Party of New Jersey?
Well, from my going around the state, I'm getting people to tell me that they would like to see change in direction in policy.
Well, but the point is, where it is or not, it's your position, and you're making it clear. You're not. You're certainly not dodging the issue.
Oh,
we appreciate that.
This is an issue that is, I think, a defining moment for the country. And remember, Democrats voted for the authorization also.
That's right.
Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama said probably in 2013 we won't be able to get out. So they're not saying...
Barack Obama did not vote in 2002 because he was in the Illinois legislature, not in the U.S. Senate.
But he did say that we'll stay there till 2013. During one of the debates, he said that we will probably not be out till at least 2013. So it seems that the consensus in Washington is we have to stay there. And given the cost of the war, given the continued inability of the Iraqi government to marshal the resources, I think we have a challenge here.